So every year, most people make New Year's resolutions. Most of them include losing weight or establishing some sort of new workout routine. So willpower is what most of us rely on when we are wanting to establish these new habits. However, our environment has more of an impact on our habits than our willpower does. So, a psychologist at Duke University says it's more beneficial for us to look at our environment when setting out to establish a new habit. According to studies done by Wendy Wood James B., a professor of psychology and neuroscience at Duke, we often think what do we often think what we do we are in control of. The cues that we take from our environment are responsible for half of our behavior, that is ritualistic in nature, meaning it takes place around the same times and places every day. So she says that many of our repeated behaviors are cued by everyday environments, even though people think that they're making choices all the time. She also says that most people don't think that the reason that they eat fast food, for instance, at lunch or snack from the vending machine in late afternoon is because these actions are cued by their daily routines, the sight and smell of the food or the location that they're in. They think they're doing it because they intended to eat them or because they like the food. For instance, alcoholics and addicts have long been counseled to avoid things that trigger their cravings, such as frequenting bars. This idea applies across the board, as with healthy people as well. Wendy has conducted studies that have shown that even if one didn't intend to participate in a consistently practiced habit, they did so. Her studies have also demonstrated that even if people frequented their favorite fast food restaurant, even if they wanted to stop, they were unable to do so. About 40% of our daily activity is habitual. The plan here is to make forming a new habit simple. There's a lot of information available on this subject, but you're not going to have to go through all of that. So I'm going to show you 5 ways to form new habits that stay with you. So step one, make the habit easy to do. Create a habit that's incredibly easy to start. Choose a habit that's so easy that you can't say no. This is a quote by Leo Babauta. He's the author of The Power of Less and the creator and blogger of Zen Habits, which is one of the top productivity and simplicity blogs on the internet. The two things most people use as an excuse for not being able to build new habits is a lack of willpower or a lack of motivation or both. But the research that we just talked about shows this way of thinking it won't do. So willpower is a finite resource, meaning it can run low. So think about willpower in terms of a muscle that you are working to get stronger. One reason it is often suggested to do things that require the most willpower as soon as you wake up is because as your day goes on, you'll so does your willpower reservoir. So willpower is associated with the Hermetic principle of rhythm. It has it has ups and downs and ebbs and flows. This is a motivation wave. So a motivation wave is a period of time in which a person has high motivation. During this temporary period, you can trigger a person to do hard behaviors. However, when the motivation wave subsides, the person will not respond to the triggers for difficult tasks. This was said by B.J. Fogg, PhD. He has research linking motivation waves to behavior change. So you can implement this by getting rid of the need for motivation because the habit is so easy, you don't even need it. So, for instance, if your goal is to run 5 miles a day, just run one. If it is to start reading, read 1 page a day instead of 20. Number two, take advantage of small gains. So success or failure is simply the result of either one, practice daily. Success is a few simple disciplines practiced daily, while failure is simply a few errors in judgment repeated every day. That was said by Jim Rohn, who was an American entrepreneur, author, and motivational speaker. So let's take a look at that last statement from the view of percentages. So if we improve something by 1% over 30 days, a 30-day period, that's a 30% increase in improvement. 30% out of 100 is a big chunk. So the key here is small improvements over time rather than huge gains in a shorter period of time. If we continue to improve 1% every day, the habit will stick at some point. Number 3, as things build up, break them down. So after applying the above, you've gotten your percentages up pretty high, right? So you figure after about 3 months, your 1% a day, you'll be almost at 100%. You'll be at 90%. 90 days. So keep things simple. Now that they're bigger, about breaking them down. So this will accomplish two things. It'll help you keep up the momentum you've already accrued while still keeping it easy as possible for your new level of willpower. So, for example, break that now 10-mile run down into two 5-mile runs, or break that reading uh, from now 50 pages to two 25-minute sessions, right? Number 4, things aren't going to go always going to go according to plan, right? So it happens to the best of us. So this is why it's important that when you do fall, to get up quickly. So the best way to improve your self-control is to see how and why you lose control. And this is a quote by Kelly McGonigal. She's a health psychologist and lecturer at Stanford University who is known for her work in the field of science health, which focuses on translating insights from psychology and neuroscience into practical strategies that support health and well-being. So, one slip up is not going to have a detrimental effect on your progress, research has shown. So, this is a relief considering that we don't have to have or do a do or die mentality. Not saying that we should plan to fail, but we should have a plan just in case we do, when it comes to habits. So, when creating your plan, think about what could throw a monkey wrench in your progress and plan accordingly. So, consider things that happen in your daily life that are most likely to prevent you from fulfilling your habit. So, how can you deal with those situations and still achieve your goal? So, if you fall off altogether, what do you have to do to get back on track? Focus on process or progress, not perfection. So failure to keep your habit once it happens, just don't let it happen twice if you want to keep up your momentum. So number 5 is, there's a Chinese proverb that says that patience is a bitter plant, but its fruit is sweet. And that is so appropriate because we want our habits to change yesterday, right? But we know it's not going to happen like that. We know that just like a muscle grows or a plant grows, that it takes patience, it takes consistency. So the key here is to do what you know you can handle and gradually add on more. So if you're starting a reading habit, start with just reading a few pages. If you're wanting to eat healthier, start by substituting one meal with a healthier one or just a portion. When establishing a new habit, start small and increase gradually to get to your goals.